do this too.
Take your time with that, yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm Gloria, and this is Inception Live podcast. Hold your horses. I'm trying a new way to do the show. 1 second. Greg knows what I'm doing, so I'm going to share. I'm going live now only from YouTube. Okay, so I should have shared that out. Hopefully, new way of doing things. My gosh. Thank you, and welcome, Greg, to the show.
Nice to meet you, Gloria. Thank you so much. It's great to connect with you today. It's my first interview in Europe in a long time. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, well, there you go. What it is, I want to get you back into the English language because you speak too much. I've heard you speak Japanese, and oh my gosh, I mean, I can't even speak English. Never mind language. And you can't. I can't tell the difference when you're talking to a Japanese person. I can't tell the difference. You're so fluent.
Yeah, thank you.
So, I mean, right, here we go. We've got so much to talk about, guys. So whether you watch live or you're going to watch on the replay, it's going to be packed deep down the rabbit hole of different topics. First, hands up. I know nothing about contact in Japan. Hands up.
Well, no, I don't blame you. It is a rare, minor topic, but yeah, it's of course the ET contact is happening globally, and yes. There's a lot of similarities with the other Western people contact having another.
But I think it's time now. We all know about. I mean, I know about contact, I know about UK contact, and I know a hell of a lot about American contact. But I think it's time to get it out there. The amazing work that you're doing as the director of JCETI. We're going to bring that in. We're going to contact my favorite topic, extraterrestrial spirituality, contact modalities, hidden knowledge, military reporting, and so much more. However, before we go there, Greg, where did this all start for you? What happened?
When I was in my, in about junior high school, someone in my dad's office wrote a book that became it's sort of an underground classic called The Occult Connection. And for some odd reason, before it was it was still in a self-published version, that book fell into my lap, and it really became a template for understanding a lot of the early, pre-disclosure type era, like the Project Grudge documents and military involvement with ET beings, and also it also went into the secret society element, the ancient cultures element of the ancient connection to the quote unquote ancient alien element. That was a really big impact. It made a big impression on me. It also was pretty shocking and kind of. The conclusion was that the government had sold out humanity with these like negative treaties and stuff like that. So years later, I just kept realizing how at first glance a lot of the topics were just way over my head, and how the organized crime was involved and the CIA and all this stuff. So, but as I learned more and more about the state of the world and the true state of affairs, I realized what an intense study the book really was. Mm-hmm. And then, I had a lot of book knowledge and I had, early contact experiences. Now I know, what you might call remote viewing or, the beings in a non-physical form.
Yeah.
I used to say to myself, it's like they're just standing right in front of me. And now I realize they were.
I love that. I love that. Oh my God. Now that's synchronistic for me. I teach in some groups. I teach with experiences and mediumship. And I've been saying for eons now, it seems like forever, they're right in front of you because I'm aware of them. And they've always been there. And when you shift that consciousness, when you expand it and you move that frequency, you then will be aware of them to a degree of whatever that's acceptable for your frequency. Oh, I mean, that's wonderful. So you were aware they were there?
Yes, well, I didn't know what I was experiencing. I was having the raw experience and sort of, I thought it was like my imagination, because when I would read those books or watch UFO shows and whatnot, I think we all went through the same kind of X-Files generation, and in America they had the Unsolved Mysteries series and all that, just pop culture, UFO culture stuff. That wasn't the only source of it, but the Occult Connection book was really added a much deeper level of research to that. So but when I would talk about it or with friends or and study the topic or think about it, then I would have those experiences where they would be appearing, not so much at night, but even just in broad daylight. And but I realize now that was there was a lot of kind of surveillance and or support, both kind of negative and positive influence. So but now I know
that was them behind. I'm going to jump in here because I mean, these are not interviews. This is an organic conversation, and I get excited with other people's journeys. I can look back in hindsight and sort of see as if they were going, oh, she's taking the right path. No, go that way. No, she's doing what she should. Does that resonate with you? Like a bit of guidance was going along the way.
Definitely. Yes. And I remember an episode when I was at summer camp in New England in the state of Vermont once. And I was, one guy one of the camp owners went out of his way to let me ride this little motor scooter. So I was the only person he let ride it. And it was sort of like he was giving me a preview of, keeping, the fun alive and the adventures that were to come, so to speak. It was almost like and he said a few things that now when I look back in hindsight, he was sort of a channel of, they were speaking through him. So I had a lot of experience like that, even in simple things like trick-or-treating. I grew up in upstate New York. I just loved looking at the night sky and felt this sort of that sort of what you might call the indigo or starseed homesickness, as well as a lot of support. Like a love from a higher level coming down.
I mean, two things I resonate with that is one, like you meet somebody and later on you realize that the advice or something that person's given you, Homo sapiens sapien could be, but it could be an advert, could be a film, could be a newspaper. It was like channeled in. It was channeled in a way for you to take notice of it. And the second point is I've always had it. This home, I've never called it Starseed, and it may because I'm like 200 years old at the moment. And that's new linguistics. It was home. Something was home, and at one point I kept looking out for home. And eventually you go in. But them 2 points are, I think, with most contactees' experiences, have very similar experiences in different ways. But I'm glad you raised the point that they can channel in or come in by different modalities, which we will get into later. So do carry on. Wonderful.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, these are, well, you're already, I've never put these experiences into words. So blessings to you, Gloria. Yeah. I also remember I was a huge Roald Dahl fan. Welsh. Yeah. So I was enormous. Devoured all his work, and I remember reading. My guides also came in. I remember one time I think it was the James and the Giant Peach. There was a scene where there's some sort of scene where the character is and at the edge of the garden, and suddenly this I don't know. He has some sort of telepathic interaction. That's all I could really remember. But I remember being just like super overwhelmed with excitement and joy. And it was like the guides used that scene in the book to do a communication of some sort right there with me reading it. Yeah.
I mean, another aspect you've raised again is this experience of super joy and happiness. I mean, it's most people they miss it. They miss it. And because they can't find a causation for it. And it could be anything. It could be an actual contactee. It could be watching. It could be anything. And all of a sudden you have this joy, this excitement, and you're resonating with an energy. And if you don't question it for the causation, just take it in. So there's another contact modality going through there. Do continue.
Yes, yeah. Well, and I also remember, like, as a child, like, with the Santa Claus or even the Easter Bunny, like, although they were mythical characters, it was this sort of like some kind of knowing that there was definitely something unseen there was definitely some sort of reality to these unseen characters. So I don't know. I remember sometime around Easter when I was maybe like 9 or 10 years old, like just like convinced that I could find or interact with the Easter Bunny for some reason, and just like being in someone's basement, and I don't know, I just had this vivid memory of like I was sure that there was something unseen there. It was probably a spirit in the house or whatever. It could have been an ET guide.
It's the senses. It's the inner. I always say it's like where I always say now in the groups, you're in the Harry Potter school of magic.
Yeah.
You've done all the journey. You now it's time to play. Now it's time to play with your wands.
Yeah.
But prior to that, with this sensing that something's there, people will either label it for you or dismiss it for you. But if you can stay open mind like you did, just accept it. Oh, something happened. I don't need to know what it was. Just allow it to happen. I think that expands and opens you up more to more synchronistic experiences to come through. Does that resonate with you at all?
It totally does. It completely. Yes. Yeah. I also I just had a woman in our online community. She's Japanese but lives outside of New York City, and she asked me. I recommended her. She wanted to take a workcation upstate New York, and I recommended a place we used to visit often with my family, and she really enjoyed it. And it brought back memories that the other thing the guides used to really kind of ring my bell in was with bingo, the bingo game. Like they love that random. They're able to use that randomness from a bingo session, and I would win. I think I hit bingo like maybe 9-10 times in a row, like just inconceivable, like flow of joy and synchronicity there. And then I would be stopped, like you gotta take a break here.
You can imagine it if you're doing cards, you're gambling. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You'd be carted away and executed from some casino. But it is, again, you're showing another form of modality as we go through the show, which is wonderful, because people think that contact modality is either see a craft or have an experience with a UFO, an ET, or I like to call them, because I'm a follower of the Seth writings. I like to now try and call them energy personality. So we drop the label. So I'll do my best, because I'm trying to change my language now. That's what's happening with them to spell casting. So I've got to say, at this point, you've got a great understanding that something amazing magical is going on around you. Hence why I rolled dial and all of that, and the esoteric experiences. At the early stage, before we get into JCETI, at the early stage, was there any inclination or direction to do with Japan? Where did Japan come in?
Very good question. Yeah, very little interaction with Japan as a young child. Hardly any, really. And I had a lot of. I was in New York in music school and New York University, and there was quite a lot of Japanese exchange students there. So I had a Japanese roommate in my third year of college of university, and the big kickoff was that in Carnegie Hall, I went to see a concert of the shamisen, which is the 3-stringed Japanese guitar, and that really flicked the switch internally with this kind of remembering of a soul experience, or just the sort of soul resonance with Japan. So that it started with the musical and the sound element. Also, the language. I was an anime fan, a Japanese animation fan, and the language. I really kind of always loved the sound of it. So they call that in Japanese otodama, the spirit of the sound. So that was in fact another kind of modality. So the guides really made my my Japanese learning Japanese or speaking or trying to learn it really fun. So that was all bubbling up internally, where I just wanted to learn more and more and more. It wasn't tiring, or I didn't study at all.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it's like there's 2 points I want to grab there as well. It's like obviously you speak so fluently, so it's obviously there's some soul connection somewhere, some fractal of a Japanese experience or whatever. So I'm trying to word it for anyone that's going to watch the show that not too complicated. So on that, I mean, I will jump in here and I resonate with you. Is like recently I had an experience of myself in another timeline. So it's not about me, but I've had the experience. And for a very long time now, I used to play the violin as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I love the violin. I love listening to the music. And when I hear it, it's like, oh. And anyway, so I had a violin. I don't know what happened to it, and on and off. I remember buying a violin, you know, when my kids were all young, and never got round to using it. And I don't know what happened. It just go on. Then recently, after the major shift that happened to me in April, whatever it was, I don't know. I'm sure I died many times.
Yeah.
Feels like it. I had this longing for the violin. Now I am musical like yourself, but nothing like you. And my field was the piano, and I'm an artist, obviously. So, but I loved playing, and I play by ear. I cannot read music ever.
Yeah,
but I could play music on the piano by ear. So, and then I had a longing for a violin. I kept seeing these violins. We have in England a thing called a boot sale, where you go to the field and everyone sells all their goods from their houses. A bit like a garage sale.
Yeah.
You do boot of the car sales here.
Okay.
And I saw one. It was an extortionate price. And I went, no, it's too expensive. But I want it. And then the next week I saw one. And then finally my friend who I went with turned up one day with this most exquisite violin. And I have it now. But I understood the connection to I don't call it past lives. I call it simultaneous timelines once. I understood that. Is this what you're saying now when we get deep into your Japanese aspect, that you had an awareness there was something between you and you somewhere else on a Japanese timeline? Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. Yeah, and I think it was a kind of like a soul contract, they might call it, or you know, that was the binding, that was the grounding point that made it. Because I kind of tell people there was so little preparation, you know, that I just sort of, especially with this JCETI project, the ET contact work and the spiritual mission we were doing here. It's almost like I had a reservation that I didn't even know about. I had my name placard was at the table, and I arrived and there's your seat. You know,
there's your seat. Off you go. You got the tour.
Yeah.
I mean, so I really would love to stay on all your experiences. When I bring you back onto Open Minds Live Chat, we'll really go into experiences. But for today, so at what point did you get introduced and take on the role as the director of JCETI? How was that created?
Really, yeah. In 2007, I had a great experience at Mount Adams. That's one of the hot spot in Northwest America, and at the time I was in the early days of Wi-Fi. I discovered that YouTube. Someone had uploaded a lot of coast to coast AM shows on this channel.
Love it.
So I just began this like whole download dump of watching 2 to 4 shows a day. And along the way, you know, I discovered the CE5 initiative and all that work, and that was amazing. So really, I had my own experience, and then JCETI was obviously inspired by CCETI and ECETI, kind of both between both of those worlds, and ended up that we just at first I thought it would be kind of a hobby, something I would do as an off time, as a once in a while thing.
At this point, was you in Japan or were you still in the USA?
Good question. In the first 5 years of being in Japan, I'm a musician, and I was doing translating just to a backpacker who spent a few years in Japan. And then the whole JCETI project, that was my dark night of the soul, where I completely moved back to the US. I was in America for a year and a half. And then between my private life and all this other stuff, that's when the shift hit the fan, as they say. And I was back, you know, I was presented with a major timeline. I was seeing whys everywhere, like which way are you going to go? Like, so, and I took
hold on a sec. Before the show, we had a chat. Would you call that an ejector seat moment?
Yeah, did I say that earlier?
Yeah, you know, before we were talking.
Yeah,
before when I said
well,
what happened to me recently, is
yes,
that what you call it the ejector seat moment?
the
Please
ejector
explain.
seat. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, the ejector seat is actually when you resist and they have to override the timeline, and so I was given a lot of prep. I have to say that, you know, that with all the stories of your life being turned upside down out there in the world, my experience was very organic and very gentle. So I'm really grateful for my guides. You know, they'll give you a half a year to a year in advance and they make it seem like, you know, you do it by this day, or else not, you know, or else this, and so it ends up that you, as long as you act in the direction of your inspiration, and I was getting the most direct guidance and most, you know, intense guidance I'd ever had up until then. So and then anyway, so I made the shift, and that led up to 311 Fukushima, where a lot of light workers and spiritual people went full time in Japan. So, but as you said, as I mentioned earlier, the ejector seat one is that when you resist. So like they're telling you, okay, you got to make this decision, and then you kind of procrastinate, and then you know, a lot of us don't like that major change. You know, I'm a Cancer. I love my home and my home base. So, but so recently I had I guess you call it an ejector seat moment, where it was like, you know, we had been telling you to kind of take more action on this, but and you know, boom, they push you into the deep end of the pool. You know, it's done. They did it for you. You know.
It's like, I mean, it happened to me in April. I'm all ready to move everything. And as I said off camera before, I felt like I died. It was boom. No, you're not going. They didn't say it like that.
Yeah.
Everything, even my consciousness shift, all my aspirate, I had this desire, this passion. I'd been visiting the new place.
Yeah.
I was, oh, I love this. I was going there. This is what I want. Yeah. And they're watching me going, and just about before to do it. Yeah. I had a dream.
Yeah.
I had contact. And I remember waking up and seeing this, you know, organic plasma crafty thing, to say that, going. And I thought, oh, something's happened. And when I got up, that passion, that desire, you know, and it was like, I couldn't move.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it. I couldn't find what I was chasing. It had gone.
Yeah. That's it. I know it's exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was stuck. And I went, oh, all right.
What
then.
now?
What now? Oh my God. Yes. And I went, okay, it's done. The universe has done it. I accept, let it go. And then ever since then, it's been boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So for everyone out there, the ejector seat analogy, I love that, Greg. And I'm going to plagiarize you on my future shows.
No problem. Yeah. We need some sort of term to describe these things, because you know, we're all being pushed to the limit. We're all experiencing things that we never thought we would have happened to us, and we're experiencing confronting challenges that were, you know, everything's being ramped up so to such intense levels of intensity. It's amazing. The other one, you know, in the past, in a past book I published, I called it the brake accelerator. This is all describing the way the guides in the causal dimension, or, you know, 5D and above, interact with us. You know, that's what we're talking about here. So I also describe it in past terms as like the brake, and like a brake, like I'm driving a car. They put the brakes on you. They slam the emergency brakes on, like you're saying with you, Gloria. And then, you know, with my experience with JCETI, then it was like pedal to the metal, accelerator, full tilt for the first 3 to 5 years. And I just had the almost intense inspiration, and my Japanese language went into overdrive, and just meeting so many people, and you know, again, with the they pulled out the rug from under me as well with the Fukushima disaster, where I was like halfway moving to Tokyo area, and then the whole disaster hit, and so I had cleared the decks to where I was living, and they just beautifully prepared me for the full-time, you know, project that became JCETI, really. Yeah,
I'm with you. I mean, before we go on to JCETI and the questions I have about you know, contact in Japan, which I'm so interested, because I'm going to learn new as well.
Yeah.
Is and we will come back to, you know, extraterrestrials and spirituality, but we are touching upon it as we go along, because it's so vast and it's like going down the rabbit hole for eternity. We can still pull out some bits. Not many. I mean, I must admit, in the past, I didn't really realize how much influence they had, even being an experiencer, going on craft, you know, and all the things. I paint them, you know, I channel them. I didn't, that seemed to come a bit later on for me, to have that awareness. They're not controlling. It's an agreed, like, I suppose, like, not a marriage, but like a partnership. It's an
yes.
Does this resonate with you?
Yeah,
that knowing, we're working together, co-creating. Does that make sense to you?
It totally does. Yeah, and I'm, as you're speaking, I'm thinking, yeah, like in maybe for you, the way you painted, your interaction with them was, let's say, as a painter first, and your contacts were your contacts. But then what we're talking about is that once you commit to a project like this, or in my case, I think it was of course a pre-birth agreement. So once that hit, once the symphony really started, once the introduction ended, and we went into the main movement, then it's a commitment, and you're like it's like a tandem skydive. You know, it's without that guidance and support, it would be kind of inconceivable. So I was really happy to connect with my main guide, so to speak, and I'm just about to publish my next book. Is about contacting your ET guides, the Star Family Reunion.
Okay, you can advertise all the way through. Shout out the book. What's your next book going to be called? It's
still in Japanese. Star Family to no Saikai, revival reunion with the Star Family. It's called, but yeah.
You are going to get it into English.
Yes, I've got it. I'm going to do it in English too, for sure. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So yeah, that's but basically I've had so basically I was given, with some really intense life decisions, this is the recession of 2008 and 2009, and I left 2 jobs in the US and went back to Japan with really just sort of not much of a I had just left a 5-year stint there, and kind of done everything I had wanted to do. So basically it was a real jump into the deep end. So I took a huge leap of faith, and it was a big commitment to, but I knew that they were assured, they were sure that, they assured me over and over and over again that, this was going to be totally worth it. And really was my life work, my calling. And so, yeah, that all came true. So, every time I doubted, the messages would repeat themselves. And, basically, so I made the commitment, and it's been, I can't imagine not being here now.
Exactly. It's like it was just so you. It's who you are. Now it's who you are. I mean, I tell you, when you come back onto the Open Minds Live chat, we are so going to go into the spiritual aspect of this. But for today, we are now going to talk about contact in Japan. I mean, I know nothing. I know nothing about it. First of all, can I ask you, is like it was in the UK way back, is it sort of taboo still there, or has it opened up now?
Yeah, it's really quite open. There's definitely an entertainment aspect, or there's UFO type of products. The term is used in video games or entertainment, and of course as a motif just globally. And there's even a couple towns that have a UFO museum, or a UFO themed library. And it's been regular on the TV here. There's a lot of tabloid type of TV shows, and they really kind of check it up, and really it's totally entertainment. But it's been in the people's mind. It's been in the public consciousness. For a long time. For someone to commit to a real serious research, though, that's the problem. So the main figures in the Japanese UFO quote unquote research scene are actually more media people, television producers, publisher, heads of publishing companies, and editors of related magazines. So they have a certain spin on it, and it has been fear in kind of the whole X-Files negative abductions and the fear scenario has dominated. But in the past, in the 60s and 70s, there was a George Adamski boom here. So they actually had their UFO renaissance quite early, with sky watching groups, and even people in there was a circle, or sort of a group that did that in high schools as well. So a lot of people, a lot of adults now had contact experience or sightings when they were just students.
I'm with you. Yeah. Can I ask you, explaining that, how is the Japanese media with recent, I am disclosure, so are you. We don't need a government to give us disclosure. We are the disclosure. But still, with the 2 events in the USA, with what they called it, yes, they're real, here we go, and the most recent one, did the Japanese media news feed, did they cover that, and how did they respond to that?
Sure. Yeah, they ignored a lot of the stuff before that. So as of 2017, when that whole Pentagon initiative started, they definitely covered it in Yahoo and the national TV station, the BBC. The BBC of Japan is called NHK, and so they did a clip on it, and it's just been a fairly neutral coverage, just short articles. Some politicians have described the need. They really just mimic the steps of the U.S., where they discuss the need for a potentially a reporting system. So in the past, we've interviewed pilots, and the Japanese Defense Force the Air Defense Force has no reporting protocol for UFOs or unidentified objects. Yeah. So
that was going to be my next question. Stop being psychic.
Yeah.
Bad you. I was going to say, what about military reports? Because obviously the US government and their little charade they're bringing out military survey.
Yeah.
Have you had any reports from anyone in the military out there? Personally?
Yes. Well, let me answer. Let me just finish the rest of that last question. Was that basically? Yeah. It's been a regular. All the articles you've seen. It hasn't been a flurry, but there's been every time there's a major like the last UFO hearing and everything 2 weeks ago, that they covered that, and it's piquing the interest of people. So although people like us might shun that, or immediately have a bad reaction, it is actually kind of helping us to stir the cauldron, and so we've gotten inquiries and a lot more television requests. So I have to, I have to keep an open mind and sort of lower my high standards at times, to actually, because that's a chance for people who normally would not have interacted with the information to learn something. So that's part of our job too. We've been one of our main kind of pillars of JCETI is to actually interact with and recalibrate the media here. So I stand out as a tall, almost 2 meter tall, American here. So the ETs seem to love to use me as a signpost, a billboard.
There you go, a billboard. Oh yeah, I hope they're paying you for it. No,
yeah.
But sometimes I've got to say, expanding reality. Brandon is saying hi, and he loves us both.
Yeah, well, thanks, Brendan. It was great. I thought I was speaking to you the other day. Yeah, thanks.
He sticks out like a sore thumb too, because I love it. His wife said, "Wear your hair natural." I love his hair natural. He looks so rugged,
Yeah.
Let's not digress. Let's not digress to Brandon. Love him to bits. So, with the military reports, the governments out there have not set up like a special thing as yet, or like we hear in the UK, it was denied in my country way back in the day. Not that I was there, guys. I'm not that old. That they were studying UFOs, and then I was released. Is there anything like that been going on in Japan, hidden at all?
There is, yes, and that is a topic that I need to get into. Really, so there is the network, the disinformation network, is actually very insidious here, and it's shockingly they've got the total iron grip. They've had an unquestioned iron grip on the UFO scene here for decades, and they have figures. And like I said before, they're the gatekeepers, and so it's the television shows and History Channel, Japan and stuff doesn't really ever include a lot of real researchers. They always have the select gatekeepers.
Their narrative.
Yes.
And so is there no freedom of information hacked out there?
No, there isn't. No, there's not actually.
That's okay.
But what I found, Gloria, is that over the years is that we know that it's what they've set up here through these media people is an apparatus to really collect data from the citizenry and from regular people, and that occurs through the actual gatekeeper people themselves, and also it occurs through sort of newer religious organizations, kind of like and so they actually interact together. So a lot of the sort of I don't know I call them cults, but these sort of cults branded as a new religion, they've got enormous pools of people. They've got an enormous collective to gather data from, and they've been actively talking about the UFO thing and interviewing people who research it, and they also ask their people to send in videos. So there's an active recruitment program to get data and
in plain sight.
In plain sight. Now that's congratulations, because that's the first time I ever said that. Yeah.
In plain sight. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, wow.
And I've been trying to get the name of it. I would love to have the guides intuit me. I'm trying to get the name of the program, and one of the people actually admitted it, and basically admitted it in a lecture he did in America at one point. But they were co-opted. They probably had they were under I know for a fact that some of them were under duress. So that's all they could. They weren't contactees, they weren't on a spiritual thing at all, so they just they became yes men and took the they took the payola, and unfortunately they began to also block people like us, and so
from that aspect you're going to have, like we have in the UK, more so in your country actually, I would say, in America, is the disinformation guys. Prominent in America. There's all these disinformation guys that are like all ex 3-letter agencies, but they them as if and do you see? So you're going to have a very similar. We've had I think there's one comes to mind. I won't name him in the UK, ex MOD, but information to direct you somewhere and take the eye off the contact. It's all about contact. It's not about. It's about the actual contact. So you have the Men in Black out there as well, then.
And it's always it's all. And I tell people, it's what they don't say. You should pay attention to what they don't cover. They can continually ignore disclosure. They continually ignore our contact work, and they bring these other ridiculous guests and focus on they started to really become outdated, and then all of a sudden the whole Pentagon thing kicked up, and thanks to YouTube and stuff, they have the control over the TV has gotten a lot less in the last few years. But I have there was definitely trouble, threats, blacklisting, boycotting, and things going on back in the day.
But you're on your hero's journey, so you got the guys with you. You got them. They're your Men in Black.
Bodyguards.
If you perceive it the way you look at things, if you perceive it that way, nothing will stop you. There's so many rabbit holes I'd love to go down with. It's fascinating, but I want to still home in on Japanese contact. So first of all, now we've done the Men in Black and the disclosure. There's a hidden history in Japan. I have gone and watched quite a few of your shows and your English ones, by the way.
Thank you.
On the Japanese one, I'm gonna,
you'll get there.
I can't do this stuff. I'm sorry. And there's, I have always been mesmerized by the Japanese culture from way back. I don't know if it's from Japan, but I loved, I used to practice Tai Chi. I used to watch Japanese films in Japanese when I was a child with my brother.
Wow.
With subtitles, and they were the samurai warriors.
Yeah.
And me and my brother, but he'd always chop off my fucking head. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always won. He did cowboys and Indians as well. And I used to watch the samurai and the magic, and they'd fly in the air, all of these Japanese movies,
Mm-hmm.
and they could do supernatural things. And I was just mesmerized, but they were always silent.
Yeah. Very neutral.
Yeah, very new. Neutral is a good word. So has this contact always been going on in the Japanese culture, and is the modality different to the Western world?
Yeah, it's a good question. The very interesting question. There's so many spiritual schools, esoteric schools, and some of them, of course, are very close to the Japanese culture itself, and then others, and then the new age spiritual scene is very, very Western here. You might not. Most people don't realize that as of now, a lot of the spiritual publishers and everything like that bring over a lot of people and teachers from the West, Europe and America, Canada, Australia, whatever. So in that regard, our kind of unique position is that we're doing the ET Ascension thing mainly. So most, and there, so you've got, in our experience, the actual UFO research community is almost non-existent. There's this, like I said, the media apparatus that controls everything.
Yeah.
And then there's some amateur researchers out there. But there was a real blank, a real dearth of knowledge, and they were really behind the times, like I'm with you. 10 to 15 years behind. So that was our job, to start filling in the gaps and updating the scene a little bit. Well, actually quite a lot. But as far as the contact itself, the Japanese are amazingly fit for it, and as far as their group mind state and the harmony, that's what they call Choa, the group harmony state, and so they really and they also are really good at they again with catching the unseen and reading the air. And so like a lot of the phenomenon includes this energetic element, and it's not all five sense, so I had to adjust my dials from the Western scientific mind state to more of this flow consciousness and let it be, sort of just it is as it is. Very that was it took me at least 2 or 3 years of doing, as I'm doing JCETI, to really tune into that element. And I don't know if you saw the Scorsese film Silence, which was about the hidden Christians. It's a great one. There was the when Christianity was banned during the isolation, and there was still people practicing in silence in Nagasaki in Western Japan. So the missionaries there, towards the end of the movie, they're kind of like, some of the Japanese finally level with them, and they're saying these people don't really understand, like their view of God is fundamentally different from what yours is, and although they might act or show you that they're devoted and all this, like what your message is, you should consider the fact that you're potentially not getting this across as you might completely as you might think. So the amazing thing about contact is that it's beyond all those trappings of dogma and text or so. I find that it's really naturally, the intuitive part of contact is really easy for Japanese people to jive with.
Well, I'm not surprised about the intuitive side. I mean, as I said, growing up, we used to watch, the warriors and everything, and I'd sit there and watch. I wouldn't do it today, but we'd watch with subtitles, me and my brother. He was older than I, but everything about them, and I used to just be in the film. I would just love this, this energy. And I do remember going, I thought way back when after I was divorced, and I thought, I'm going to go and do Tai Chi. I need to take my young son in to calm him down, which it did to a degree.
Yeah.
it was a very similar principle, and it reminded me of me and my brother when we were younger, because not only would we would reenact this flow of energy,
and
visualize the energy, the chi, and it, you visualize you can fly, you're jumping up, your imagination's going here, and so for you to live in such the energy in Japan, I don't know if it's everywhere, but it must be so different to Western.
Yes. Yeah, it's very meditative. It's like a theta state, the theta state, like all day, all night. This quiet, this kind of like inner quietude. That's lovely. Yeah, they're very so the not offending or not causing any kind of a disruption to the other is really the name of the game. That's the essence of the society and the culture. So and they also really hear you out. What the big thing is that they don't have for better or for worse, they don't have a big debate culture. Yeah. So that allows the fact that you can, it doesn't matter who or where you're talking to someone, at least they'll hear you out. Like, you could just pop out, hey, I'm a UFO contactee, UFO researcher, I'm a ET researcher, and they might be really surprised. Some people would be interested, but no one will say, piss off and just walk away. That'll never happen. Like the West. That will never happen here. Yeah. So
it makes me think though. So if you approach a Japanese person, it's going to be so natural for them to be aware and they've got the spiritual contact, and we will get to extraterrestrial spirituality. Then is it like have you ever experienced a UFO? Oh yes. Is it like that normal? Are they just like, if they have, is it like, like in the West, it's like, who do I talk to? A lot. Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of people, it can be a private experience. So they may have, that's another thing of our JCETI is that a lot of people haven't had a forum or a place to share those experiences. So they keep it to themselves. But they really appreciate the opportunity to share and confirm their experience. Yeah, but we've if it did come up, they would definitely share with joy. Yeah.
Right, I've got to take it to the area because I'm selfish, extraterrestrial spirituality.
Oh yeah, one more thing, Gloria, is that the big thing is, of course, with the spirits and the spirit world. We're a very wet and rainy country like Britain. Yeah. So I find that seems to be the weather. Dry places seem to have less spirit attachments than the wet ones for some reason. So
the humidity, it's something to do with the atmosphere. And this is same with my contact, because when I have contact, it's like I can't say the word. There's an atmosphere change.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's not humid, but it's a different humidity. So I do resonate with that. I think
So before you get to before the UFO thing, people are really open and knowledgeable about spirits and the deceased. So
you have a lot of psychic mediums out there.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yep.
Well, so I always say, being a medium, and that's what I teach. I teach mediumship. I always say mediumship is psychic mediumship is a door, is a portal to these energy personalities, to ET. It's a doorway. If you that energy around you, you've got the doorway is open. Just step through it and go.
Yeah.
They're okay with mediumship out there.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. So and of course with the whole Buddhist culture, Buddhism is involves the process of birth and death. So a lot of most funerals are Buddhist here. So that whole element is very and the ancestor spirits, respecting the elders and respecting the ancestors, the deceased are one and the same. So that world of the unseen is first and foremost dominated by spirit and deceased people, but then that quickly translates into UFOs as well.
I mean, this is where we're going to go, because I've recently on shows and in my groups, through my own awareness, way back, I've become aware that spirit and what you call ET, energy personalities, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And you touched upon it at the very beginning of this conversation where, you know, how contact modalities come. Yeah. It come through a film, or someone gives you advice, or something up, or a book falls in it. There's, you know, many are not aware how many and the diversity of the contact modalities. Spirit world is one of them.
Yes. So,
does that resonate with you?
Everyone's got a part to play, you know, and the spirit guides and everything. And so before, in my case, I was really just laser focused on the ET element, but I was obviously also having different kinds of spirit contact, and you know, I had also experienced a lot of, you know, sleepless nights, and before I had the ability to kind of clear these energies out, you know, we've all had, everyone on Earth has had some kind of experience where they had an interference or some sort of trouble. I call it the spiritual harassment.
I mean,
astral harassment. It's the astral harassment.
Astral harassment. Oh,
that's another one. Yeah,
another one.
Copyright. Wikipedia page.
I mean, you know, I find it, you know, to validate what you just said. Not that I need to, but for me, when I was younger, and they don't like to call them dead, but I'm using it for convenience. When I was a child, I just saw dead people, and all experiences, and I saw them. I couldn't tell the difference if they were really dead or not dead. That's how strong it was. Anyway, and then I'd have experiences, and I thought the midgets. Now, I had no ET in my consciousness at that point. I thought the midgets were dead midgets or dead children. I didn't have anything of that. There was no context there. It wasn't until later on to 87 when I saw Whitley Strieber's cover of his book, which just literally had a nervous breakdown. I realized, fuck, the big brown eyes, black eyes rather. So you come the other way. I had no comprehension to, not even though I was going on craft, I all thought it was spirit world.
Wow. Huh.
I thought everything was. Now, that's good, I suppose, now in hindsight. I was traveling, I was being taught sciences, and you wouldn't believe, and I thought it was the spirit world. No idea in 87.
Question, Gloria, did you, when you saw those beings, were they aware of you? I'm always interested in people's take on that. Like, depending on the level of astral, because there's so many different types of spirit. How are in your mind, what are when they can sense people as like just a blob or just a light, or are they actually aware of, you know,
they're aware of me and let's call it my soul level. It's total awareness. It's total connection.
Yeah.
Total awareness.
Right.
It's only my filters or my beliefs or my concepts or any idea I have about myself that sometimes that can filter it from my side. But
interesting. The other thing, so the other thing that's that most people talk about or are very aware of with the unknown is the ability to have a priest or a Shinto priest to clear you, do a blessing because of the like not a haunting, or just like what were the energy attachments. So believe it or not, that's quite common here as far as understanding.
Do they I practice it myself. I've been doing it for years, and I'm what you call a rescue medium. So I go into properties. That's but only when it's urgent. I haven't got time for, I don't make a career out of it.
I love all that stuff. I wanted to because the word for Japanese, which means to be tired, is also the same word as to be possessed.
Really?
So there's a lot of there's a really big base of knowledge about that, which is what I find amazing. And clearing a space, or because there's so much there's only 80% mountains in Japan, so they've been recycling the same land, 20% of livable land for eons, and whenever you knock down a house and build a new one, most people have a ritual where they do a blessing, and they put the salt in all corners, and it's just the whole shamanic tradition is active here.
I think I mean I think it's wonderful, and it's my own truth. I can't say it for the general, humanity. But like, for example, when I was stopped 3 months ago, and what's happened, these guys, I've changed all the furniture in the house. I've changed the design of the garden and all the energy lines. And I know, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know what I'm doing. Everything is being shifted. Yeah. Energy is being moved. And I feel like, is it Shay Feng Wang Ching Wang or something?
Yeah, Feng Shui, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I can't say that. I'm too old to say that. And everything's moved. Even in my garden, I'm painting in my garden. I'm creating. The Buddha went out today, painted it this color. That one's gone out. And everything it's like, I keep telling you, Greg, I feel like I've died.
Yeah.
I've gone to a timeline, another timeline. I can't explain. But I'm at the moment, it's the energies. It's these energies that are around me. Everything I seem to be perceiving, and not with eyeballs, because there's something going on with, the dizziness that's going on at the moment is unbelievable. Yeah. Perceiving energy, but knowing what to do with the energy, but never going to be trained. Does that resonate?
Yeah, well, things are so, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I feel like in the last half a year or so, there was a couple moments where it's like, like I felt the weight of death, or just like a death and rebirth, and the timelines are changing. It's so flexible. It's like a gyration, it's so flexible.
Like I'm constantly bleeping in, bleeping out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's getting really weird. It's getting really weird.
And I know I'm different to earlier on today.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
I can't find words for what's happening. You just don't, or I'm going mad. But it's, I can deal with contact. I can deal with what you call abduction. I can deal with all of that, dead people. But this is it's like I am playing with energy at the moment. Yeah. This is what and I'm bleeping in. I'm in reality 3D. And then I'm out and I'm in another dimension, whether it's 5 or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't bother me. But I'm back in. I'm more in the other dimension than I am here.
It's getting a lot easier. Yeah, it's getting a lot. There's a lot less heaviness and attachment, and it's getting a lot easier to just simply be and just be in the 0 point and
the 0 point again. Yes, that
you're getting
yesterday.
Yeah, you're getting thrown into the deep. It's like learning to swim without a manual and without a lesson. You will. As long as you have, as long as you stay centered and just focus on the next step.
I've used the word grounding. I mean, what's happened is also, it's like losing my balance. It's been going on for a while, and it's really, really kicked in. So I'm having to focus on my feet to ground myself. Yeah. I feel like I'm going to fall off the earth, put it that way.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
And so I go dizzy. So I've got to walk a certain way. I mustn't look down. I mustn't look right. My peripheral vision is not gone, but if I turn too quick, the energies, I will spin.
Yeah.
And I don't like that feeling, because I've got to sit and wait for it to pass. So the balance of the ears has gone, everything, and it's totally, and it's light. It's very similar to some experiences, the atmosphere I've been in, but I don't normally bring it back with me. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah. We're there's no charge to the past anymore. It's just like, that this sort of collective mind, your collective experience, the things that we used to rely on and reference to, or it seems like they've all been shifted or just disappeared. And so it's exciting and kind of, and it's exciting and kind of daunting at the same time.
Well, it can be daunting. I still say the word God. I just old school, and God, the beings do talk, and I'm going, I can't do this. I feel like I'm going to float off.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to stabilize and neutralize myself.
Yeah.
Even while I'm talking to you, keep going to my feet.
Yeah. I've been grounding a lot lately too. Yeah.
Have you found Have you found that recently?
I'm grounding a lot lately. Yeah, I had a kind of a Kundalini burst at the end of last year that actually I had not had this kind of back pain in my spine ever before. So I had I just completed a 15 visit chiropractic session, 15 visits over the course of this half a year, and so but one of the big turning points with the pain and there were times when my back would just lock in self protection and I couldn't even bend over. I couldn't put the socks on. I had more days like that than ever in my life. So but what helped me get rid of it was the grounding. So in one intense grounding session, a lot of that stored up pain and stress and tension released right into right out of the
I think grounding, I mean, but I think individually you're gonna find your own grounding. I mean, like I had the conversation with the guys and oh God, or whatever you want to say. And I'm saying I don't like the experience because everything is spinning. And I have to sit myself down because I'm going to fall off the earth. It feels like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this voice come in and said, but you were the observer watching all of that going on. And I went, oh shit, are you telling me for me to have a realization, I have to experience. So all of this, it's at the same time, there's information coming in.
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, yeah, I sit there, the body, I observe the body go through this spin and help me. I'm observing this body go, help me. But I'm observing it, and they say,
it's you don't get pulled down.
That's your 0 point.
The 0 point. Yeah. There's so much to do. I've been inundated with new tasks, and a lot of our systems changed. So we had a reboot on our entire a lot of our systems and the way we did things and the places I've used and our session room. Everything's it's decaying. It's in entropy, so we're also avoiding entropy. Things that are continuing on the higher timeline are appearing, and those that are decaying are falling off. So you might be you're not on firm ground anymore. We're not on firm ground anymore.
I'm definitely not. I'm telling you, I'm even going to to the optician on Thursday. My daughter's taking me because I keep saying there's something wrong with the eyes, but I have this awareness, no matter what they stick on my eyes, I can still function, but I have to walk a certain way and I have to stay in the stillness to be human. I can't explain it. I can't. So I'm glad I'm not the only one going through this because it's quite isolating when it first happens.
Yeah.
Because you can't do a lot. You said it's all being deconstructed. So every concept, idea, all Newtonian laws, and we still got to animate in this, so to speak.
Yes.
And now I'm going to take that because I think this is coming from, here we go, extraterrestrial spirituality.
ET SPI,
You explain, expand. What does that statement mean? Because I love it.
Well, I think it's it's like the fact that in Japan here the environment dictated that there was actually in up until recently there was just these two separate fields, like the whole occult / UFO community and then the spiritual New Age community, which is really a lot of sort of tried and true modalities. Of course, mediumship, Reiki, tarot, astrology, all that stuff is, of course, here. The Japanese love all that stuff. So, my role was really and the spiritual people in this camp are looking at the UFO people and saying, look, how are we supposed to believe all these entertainers, like all this tabloid, and on top of that, it's all scary stuff. So, and then the UFO people are, they're looking at the spiritual domain and saying, who are all these people charging all this money for these crystals and necklaces and pendants and expensive workshops and so our job was to kind of connect the two and really within the spiritual community there was not a lot of kind of expert level or really totally, truly focused ET research happening. So that was it inspired me to spiritual, which they condensed to it's called SPI in Japanese, like the nickname. SPI and the span, and it's a cute nickname.
I like it.
And so we made a second website or second project that's in tandem to JCETI called ET SPI. And it really started in about 2013 with my second book here, and that really encompasses more of this the everyday life and the ascension process, the Ascension process. And
okay, what's the title of the second book? Because this is the area that I'm really interested in at the moment.
Oh, well, it's called the Hologram Mind. I call it Hologram Mind. So not yet. The third one's going to be in English. Yeah, I've got so much to do. Yeah.
I'm not learning Japanese. I'll just have to remote view it. And anyway.
I mean, it's experience, it's knowledge, and it's knowledge that's, of course, out there in the West. And I'm inspired by other amazing teachers. But I also, it's everything that I've experienced. It's the knowledge of our experience here as a group, as a community in Japan, my personal experience as running a project like this full time. That there's a lot that happens in between the events.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, my interpretation, being a contactee, is when I hear extraterrestrial spirituality is, if I go back, each time I had contact or whatever you want to call it, downloads, whatever channel, what we call the spiritual aspect of my being expanded.
Yes.
Expanded until I got to the point that I then, because I come from non-duality, that's my truth. I am that I am.
Yeah.
In the human experience, that's me. Yeah. So I then, from my truth is, these guys that I'm communicating with, they're saying, Gloria, you're not moving, stay here. These guys and I are the same one. I am extraterrestrial. I am, to me, the Homo sapiens sapien, the physicality does not exist.
Yeah.
It is, I come in to play the role of the human being. So I have, when you put the extraterrestrial spirituality, because I always say we're spiritualizing matter now. We're spiritualizing. You see, consciousness creates matter. Consciousness creates matter. And now consciousness is spiritual. I use the term spiritualizing that matter. So does this make sense to you at all?
Yes. I'm sorry. I gave you the complete business card description there. What you're saying is the essence of.
Give me another one.
Well, no, I what you're saying, extraterrestrial spirituality. Where did the term come from? Where did the name come? What does it mean? Is that the spiritual ET contact is really what should be focused on.
Yes.
Not so much, up until now, the X-Files, the government stuff. That's all fun and games. But what is so exciting is that everyday people now have this amazing opportunity to tune into a level of support and guidance that's like beyond. It's a whole new generation. It's a whole new dimension.
It's right here. So you're saying I'm saying no more nuts and bolts. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's contact is it now.
Mm-hmm.
Is this what you're saying?
Yes.
Go on.
So making a very distinct line in the sand, and then so rebranding ET, rebranding spiritual. They both need a version update.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, as I said, I stole it from Seth. Energy personalities. I mean, I've lost a video of Greg. He must have just.
Sorry, I just had a sneeze. Yeah.
You can sneeze on the show.
Sorry,
Don't worry about it.
That's the Japanese.
So for me, it's I've just lost it there because he sneezed. You see.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You threw me. It was coming in.
The layman's anyone has this new level of contact. It's right here. You said.
Yeah, there you go. And for me, for my truth at the moment, and it seems to be resonating with you. There are different modalities of contact, and we've gone through quite a few. The modality I'm experiencing now, remember, I come from toddlerhood, craft, abduction, everything you could think of, every modality you could think of. Now they're here.
Yeah.
And it's like why I have to be so grounded and this body is spinning is it's a the modality is 100%, I suppose you could say telepathic, but I'm like this being in the physical suit connected. I can't explain it. Does this resonate with you as a modality?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, we focus so much on revving the engine up, but now it's on how are we going to drive? You know, they're here, and all this stuff is happening, and we realize how much we've been guided all along. So now it's the next whole level is going to be this kind of new communication, the co-creation element instead, and all that, you know, on a personal level and also collective level. So I think we're being they're really supporting that transition for us to become, you know, spiritual, energetic.
I think it was. Oh, you froze a bit there. You froze a little bit there.
Nope, I'm sorry. And we're really getting primed. They're really priming us up to be, you know, independently, you know, independent cosmic citizens, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the aspects. I mean, I can only speak from my personal truth. Is the aspect every time I blink in, blink out. I can't. I'm telling you, I can describe what's happening. It's like I'm less physical because the physical bits don't seem to be working too good.
Yeah.
You know, I can't, but that's my modality now. And I'm hearing from a few others, not just yourself, in the groups, that things are starting to happen to them. Many are talking about, I'm hearing about, there's someone there. There's someone there. Now, as mediums, I'm a medium. So if you've got a spirit with you, it's a specific energy. You recognize it, male, female. I'll get a picture of what they look like, and they tell me, this is not spirit. This is not that energy, and it's a different
ET spirit.
It's an ET spirit. There you go.
ET spirit.
It's an ET spirit, and also what's happened with this bleeping in and bleeping out. What's happened to me is, sounds crazy, doesn't it? I ask a question, and I'm hearing a totally different voice. So clear.
Yeah.
And I at first I was like, oh. And so before I finish the question, the answer's in.
Yeah.
Going on since they stopped me moving, that revved up. It'd always been there.
Yeah.
The beings always come through, and I would speak, sort of channeling, but not like that. But this now, it's just there.
Yeah, that's a great thing. So just you know, it'll be great to continue to help to grow the relationship. You know, we're really we're building trust and building, you know, learning each other's language, and they're always you know, several steps ahead of us. So, you know, being a spiritual person living the higher dimensional lifestyle is a commitment, and they're really guiding us towards this greater goal, I think.
I think it's I love your perception and your truth and your viewpoint on this. I've got to ask you, I mean, I have no idea what's coming. I'm just saying I'm in for the ride. I came here for the ride, honestly.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I've gone through at this moment some fucking evolution. I don't know what. I feel like I've had enough being a human.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's like I don't ask what's next. I just go with the flow, like we spoke about. But where would you say you can only speak from your truth, from your perception in Japan, where you are. Yeah. Where do you think, or where's your excitement being drawn to now?
That's a very good question. Yeah, it's because I think we're really it's a tricky one, because I've been on sort of autopilot. I just was warned by a friend yesterday, like I really pushed the limits of my physicality quite a bit, and you know, I've been committed to this for over 10 years now. So since 2020 with the pandemic, you know, we've been on overdrive. So I've had very little time to really rest and recuperate. It's just been one thing after another, just exhausting. So I was really warned yesterday by a friend who it kind of is involved with our project a little bit, and she's saying even your guides are exhausted. You need to just
you need
so
to rest. Or they will stop you. They made me very ill in April as well. They made me so ill. I thought I was going to really physically leave the world.
Oh yeah,
it was ill. It was like you're not going anywhere, and rest the body. Yeah,
you got to rest. Yeah. So we're on autopilot. Like we've been on the cutting edge already. So it's like the edge keeps moving. So just keeping up with that is one thing. But yeah, it's
no excitement.
The excitement is to actually pull back. That's because your question is very timely. Your question, and the excitement is actually toned down quite a bit. So I think I am giving this is a time where I'm being given a little bit of time to recuperate in a way.
Yes.
I was on YouTube quite a bit in 2020, but as of last year, I've really toned down on that. And so I think our next phase is one of our projects is going to be working with children, so younger kids. So
please share what's going to happen. I love this. Go on.
Yeah, well, we've have been asked to work with children who are the new souls that are coming in too. So business as usual will continue, but we're always asked to be flexible and I think in the next year, coming out from this year onward, we're going to have the time to put energy and resources into things that have been kind of on the back burner and projects that never got off the ground, so to speak. So I feel some major shifts in our what we're doing this year.
I think the major shifts, as I said with you, what's happened to me, even my media platforms. I'm changing the graphics. Don't ask me why. I've got new graphics coming out.
You've got to update. Yeah, it's better. You keep refreshing.
Yeah, everything is just like I've just cleansed the whole of my home. Even my, the packaging to my shows.
Yeah.
And when I became very ill and I was stopped, I then found myself. I love gardening. I've always loved gardening. Always loved gardening. I have been in the garden, landscaping, redesigning, painting, because I'm an artist, upcycling things and healing and resting. Just resting at the same time of bleeping in and out. And I still have to sit a certain way. And it's like, we all used to the tones. We're all used. This is nothing like that. This is full blast. Someone's going zzz in my ears. I've got my back. So I thought, as long as I move this is my way of, just for me. I rested by doing my garden, which brings me excitement. I'm painting a new canvas, which happens to be the biggest grey I've ever painted ever. It's that I'm doing that. So I'm going into my arts. I'm doing what I love, and my passion, excitement's there at the moment. But at the same time, I'm seeing changes coming, and I'm just going with them. Like I have no idea why I've changed everything.
It's avoiding entropy, and I think if you're not moving there, that's a way to renew the current space. So
I'm going to ask you a question. I don't know. It just popped in. Like I said, what happened to me and it's happened to you, where, we get hijacked. It's something inside is like every time I'm shifted is to avert me encountering a disaster. Does that make sense to you at all?
Totally. Yep. Yeah, I understand.
In the past, you had to experience to learn. Remember that. Shit hits the fan, you have to go through the shit. Yeah, like a divorce. But it seems like I go down and then I'm ejected somewhere else to avert something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a very high kind of protection. Yeah, for sure. So, the timelines are when you start to realize that our daily lives are interacting with higher dimensions and unseen worlds like that. It's just really an honor. It's really exciting, and it really kind of prompts you to be more interactive. It prompts us to be more proactive and just because normal people just they're just disempowered. Like, I can't do anything about this, and just
like
they have
dead. They're the Walking
the
Dead.
Walking Dead. Yeah.
I mean,
But so that with this co-creation, we can every day wake up and say, what are we gonna do next? It's this really
it's
an
a
amazing
partnership.
collaboration.
It is really like, but it's I don't know if it's true. It's just something that's with all these changes are so paradigm shifts, should I say. It's like I'm being that way because someone's averting that I won't experience something negative.
Yeah. There's some sort of.
I'm done with that school. I'm done with learning.
Yeah.
But now, and it's like what's the word? I don't know. Calibration. We know when you move the energies.
Yeah. Yep.
Calibrating, or something like that. It's just, I have no idea what it is, but I'm always out there putting it out there. Does anyone else is getting any of this, or does it resonate with them? And sometimes we don't share this until someone asks us, like I'm asking you.
Yeah, it's been the most intense, and it's so fast that a change that might have a change or a big decision like this that would have taken 3 to 6 months is now happening in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so
and it's getting faster and faster and faster.
It's insane.
And the fact is, what I do in the groups, I call it spell casting. Careful what you say now, because it's manifesting near enough spontaneously.
Yeah.
Be careful what words have vibration.
Yeah.
And that is the art. And as you play we're in the Harry Potter School of Magic. We've got the wands. We're doing our magic.
Yeah.
Realizing who we are, like the other dimensional beings. You're gonna make a few mistakes. Be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful. And all of this, just like, but you're right. It's not like you could go 6 months. It's like now.
Yeah.
Now.
I love that. Some parts of me love that, and some parts of me are really averse to it. So it's a training. It's training.
It's a training to it. Do you know what? I have had the most amazing conversation with you.
This is fabulous. I mean, you even non-duality came up today, and I've done 6 private sessions today, Gloria. So I'm a little bit fried, but yeah. And one of the people mentioned non-duality.
That's where I come from, non-duality.
Is that in the Indian sense, or is that in the New Age?
It started off with Alan Watts first.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Alan Watts. And then I had this, all my life I've had the realization, like increments, one after the other coming through. And what you call a kundalini, whatever, Trevor, way back in the day. And no big deal, just energy moving. And started with Alan Watts. I was resonating. And then I went to Papa G and over to Lucknow, where Papa G was. And you've got Muji, you've got all of them out there, different, from India, Asia, and all saying the same thing. And I resonated, but do you know where it came from, the totality of self-realization?
Where?
I'm going to use the term ET.
Yeah. In the end, yeah.
It was a combination. So, like we said, they were biased. Here's a sign, here's a sign. They kept, like, I was being guided to all the self-realization. Muji was a major one, and Alan Watts.
Mm-hmm.
And then, let me add, Seth material.
Okay, yeah.
Jane Roberts, way back in the day, I wasn't ready for it, though.
Yeah.
I had all the Seth material, and I went through it. But I wasn't ready, and I put it to one side.
Mm-hmm.
It was... what happened recently, 3 months ago, it was this compulsion, go back and read the Seth material. And I went, no, I'm going, no, I can't read anymore. So it was go and do an audio.
Yeah. There's some YouTube. Hours, there's some people doing that on YouTube as well. The Seth material,
I'm like a visual and audio learner.
Yeah.
I gave all my books away. I stopped books years ago. So I did 20 hours of the Seth material. Oh my God.
Yeah. Rediscovery.
Like fresh. And then I did another 10 hours of conversation with God with Neil Donald Walsh.
I'd
read way back in the day. Something again. So I went through all of that, but it really was, these beings.
Yeah, in the end, yeah.
The ultimate one, it was me, myself.
Yeah. Wow.
Where
Yeah.
it eventually come from, because it's the self-realization of who I am, but not just that of who I'm becoming. So I'm not an am as in past, I am becoming.
Yeah.
I am. So that's my non-duality. So I'm aware it's a game, but I can still play the game with you and experience it. But it's fantastic. It really is.
Great to return to oneness that way. Yeah.
I mean, you got to do it on the inside, and then it goes out. It's been many contact modalities. How about that? Many.
I like that. Yeah.
And I think it takes many contact modalities, because we are what we call a fractalized conscious entity. We're out there on different timelines. I'm off down there. I was supposed to move. No doubt there's a timeline somewhere with me moving.
Yeah.
I'm on that timeline.
Yeah.
And experiencing it. Yeah. Parallel to me. I'm for this time, I'm choosing this one, but I keep popping in and out. So I don't quite know where I'm going to fucking end up. Even my guests are changing.
Right. Really?
My guests are changing on my shows. It's like, everything's just gone that way. So
keep riding the wave. Yeah. It sounds like
I'm riding the wave, and I'm with you too. Greg, I want you to promote all your books, all your bits and bobs.
Thank you. Yeah, very little stuff in English yet. I'm just so committed to. But yeah, our website is ce5japan.com, ce5-japan.com, and I'm hoping to definitely get our third book, Hologram Mind 3, in English by the end of the year. So yeah, it's
you're going to have to go English, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, that's really coming in strong this year. Yeah, thanks to you and Brandon and everyone.
Oh no, I mean Brandon. We just love Brandon. I love his hair. I just because I straighten my hair. My hair's like Brandon's.
Yeah.
And but I straighten it. Brandon doesn't straighten it. So I love someone.
You're going for Rapunzel. Yeah.
My Rapunzel. As I said, I need to go in a flat and hang my hair out the window, and some hunk of a man will come and climb.
It sounds like a plan.
Oh, I don't think. No, they're not going to let me move. I've got to stay here for some reason. So never mind. But Greg, I mean, apart from you must translate to English, but still, I'm looking forward to you coming onto my other platform. Which is,
let's do it again. This was amazing. Very natural.
Yeah, I love organic conversations. I like, when the guest comes on, I want to hear about them, not just what they do. It's cool.
Yeah.
We are the gods, and we've all had a different journey.
Yeah.
And I'm so interested because we're part of each other. I'm interested. How did you experience that?
Yeah.
It comes back to me. I just love hearing another being's experience of the hero's journey. Let's call it the hero's journey if you want to. I love it. And you've been awesome. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure, Larry. Thank you. Yeah, let's do it again soon. It was awesome today. Thank you.
Oh, no,
thanks everyone for watching.
And thank Greg you Sullivan. For watching, everybody. Stay there a minute, Greg. Stay there a minute. Yep. And yes, I do another shout out to Brandon Thomas. You lovely, lovely human being. I'm Gloria. This is Inception Live podcast. Until the next time. Bye for now, guys.